anything you need to know about NJIT baseball, I can probably give you a pretty good answer. This is my 10th year here, so I've kind of seen all the ups and downs. So we'll take your questions, and once again, thanks for your time.
Yeah, on that note, before we get to questions, so Robbie's 10th year, it's his third year as the head coach. He was interim head coach for a year, then last year, obviously, COVID, so he finally had a full year as the head coach, and look what he did. So Neil, let's start with you, being that you're our local guy. You go first.
Okay, thanks. Coach McClellan, I wanted to ask you now heading into the tournament, just what your message is to the team here, going up against, again, a very solid team in Arkansas, with that number one seed playing on their home field, on Friday afternoon there. So I just wanted to ask you about that and just what the keys are going to be, to coming out on top with a victory Friday, Coach. Thanks.
We spoke in the last couple of days at practice. Any field that we step foot on, we view as opportunity. So if we practice at Keene, that's opportunity. If we play at Stony Brook, that's opportunity. We're going to play the University of Arkansas on their home field, so that's opportunity. What we do with the opportunity is up to us. I know it's very cliche, but we're going to play every single pitch. Early on in the season, when we were struggling, we would take pitches off and not be consistent throughout the course of the game. I think we won 9 in a row, 18 out of our last 22, and the difference is we've played every pitch, and the guys have really bought into each other. So it's been a really fun and unique experience to get to the NCAA regionals.
All right, Arkansas guys, go ahead. Have at it.
Okay. Hey, Coach, this is Bob Holt from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, being there 10 years, just how big a deal is it to you? How big a deal is it to the program to get to the NCAA tournament?
It's a huge deal. We're very proud. One of the things about NJIT is early on in its transition into Division I baseball, it wasn't really known for winning, and as years have gone on, there have been more and more wins. But for me, I'm just really proud to see the hard work really come out on the field. We have a great group of upperclassmen. We have some really talented young players. And I guess the word I just keep using is I'm proud. I guess I'm kind of proud that I've kind of seen all the ups and downs, and right now this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to NJIT baseball, and we're really excited to represent the America East in the regional.
And if I did my math right, you guys started off 8-18. Now you won 18-22. What triggered the turnaround?
Early on in the season, we were injured. 3 of our best 4 players were kind of nicked up, so we were playing 2 or 3 guys out of position. I think kind of one of the main keys to our season is David Marcano, our starting shortstop, coming back and playing shortstop. When he plays shortstop, it puts the other 2 or 3 guys back to their normal positions. And when everyone's in their normal position, I think we're a pretty darn good team. And then Rapp, who's on the call, anytime that we've had a lead or an opportunity to win a game, he hasn't let us down. So we've had really good starting pitching. We have 3 guys in the top 10 in our conference in strikes. Rapp's been locked down at the back end of the pen. We've played a lot better defense the second half of the season because David being at shortstop, and offensively, I think we're a pretty fun team to watch. We have some guys that can do some things, and that's kind of been the key turnaround. And the fact that the guys, when times were tough, they never gave up, and they stuck with each other. And, I've been in college baseball. I think this is my 14th or 15th season. I coached at a junior college before I came to NJIT, and it is the closest group of kids that I have ever seen on a baseball field. They just, you hear about 30 guys that think they're a family. Well, it's legitimately 30 guys that think they're a family. And I think a lot of that is, number one, we spent so much time together in COVID. We had literally no fans at the game. So it was us versus the other team, and that was it. So I think we became really close, and it's been a really fun and unique experience to be a part of.
Okay, I got a few more questions, but I'll turn it back to the other guys to ask. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, hey, Robbie, it's Tom Murphy, also with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Just what's the scouting report show you about Arkansas, and do you have starting pitching plans for this one?
Yeah, they're really good. That's what it shows. So, they can do a lot. They're physical. They're fast. They pitch well. Our starting pitcher, we're going to start Tyler Stafflinger. So, we haven't heard who they're going to start yet, but they can do a lot of things on a baseball field, and if you give them any momentum, they will run with it, and that's pretty much what they've done all year. So.
And I had a question for Jake, if you're still on here, Jake. Just the spirit of your team, where you guys are at now, and what it was like being determined champions when you didn't get to finish the game up there.
I think, first of all, thanks for the question.
Yeah.
When the game being canceled on Sunday, as competitors, we wanted to go out there and show the rest of the conference in the Northeast that we're a legit team and that we can beat anybody, even if it is Stony Brook. They're usually the top dog here, but we know that we can play with them and beat them. But as for just getting the bid to get into a regional, I think it's what every little kid that plays baseball dreams about doing. We have that opportunity. We're going down to play against Arkansas, who has one of the best atmospheres in the country. And we're ready to show the crowd there that we can play, even if you might not know who we are. We're going to try and prove to people that we're a good baseball team, and people are going to know who we are no matter what happens throughout the game.
I guess I'll hop in.
Yeah, coaches.
I was going to hop in here.
Sorry.
Andrew Hutchison with HawgBeat.com. Coach, you said you're starting Tyler on Friday. What kind of pitcher is he? What does he do well?
He's a very experienced pitcher. He came back for his fifth year, so he's a COVID fifth year. He's been in the rotation ever since he's been here. He's very poised. The situation never seems to get to him, good or bad. He throws a ton of strikes. He's a three-pitch pitcher, ton of strikes. Great competitor, and I tell people all the time, you could argue that pound for pound, his seasons here throughout the course of his career, even when we weren't as competitive as we'd like to be, he's probably top 2 or 3 pitcher in NJIT history. So I think he'll put on a good showing when he gets out there on the mound.
And then for Jacob, Arkansas. Miles was just saying how there could be 11,000, 12,000 fans there. Y'all haven't played in front of very big crowds this year, sometimes in front of nobody. How do you think y'all are going to handle the atmosphere?
One of the things that we've been talking about as a team is that only one team gets a shot to play the number one team in the country first. And, what comes with that is a lot of fans, a big following, and we're really excited. We've never played in front of a crowd with that many people, and for us to be able to go out there and show what we can do, we're ready to feed off the energy because, like we've said previously in the meeting, that we have to create our own energy most of the time. We don't have people cheering us on, screaming. There's not a lot of music. There's just like the surround system around Kane, which is a small Division III stadium. But we're ready to go. We're excited to play in front of all those people, hear what they have to come up with, and we're going to compete as hard as we can and see where we're at.
Appreciate it. I'll turn it back over.
And I'll just jump in for you guys who don't know. Rapp, he's our senior closer. He finds energy when there's no one in the stands, so I can't even imagine what he's going to do when there's about 10 or 11,000 people there. He's a pretty fired up kid.
Yeah, Coach, this is Bob Holt again. I assume you're familiar with Kevin Copps. It looks like Jake's kind of your Kevin Copps with 8 wins and 10 saves. I think Copps has 10 wins and 10 saves. Well, what do you know about Kevin Copps, and what's it like having a pitcher have 10 saves and 8 wins? He's obviously figured in nearly all your victories.
Yeah, no, Jake has pretty much figured in every victory. I've seen video on him. The Arkansas kid. He's really good. It looks like he has a really good fastball, and saw something with that cutter slider thing he throws about 86, 88 miles an hour that seems to give the world fits. So, but he has 10 wins, 10 saves. I think Jake has 8 wins, 10 saves. I think if, I don't want to speak out of term here, but I think you could argue just looking at their numbers of their top two closers in the country, with the stats that they have. So when the game's on the line, it's made my job really easy. As a head coach, I tell number 19 to go get ready, and he tells me he is ready, and then we put him in the ball game, and he has not let us down at all this year. So it's been really fun to watch. Raph's been excellent, and we're lucky to have him.
And then when you're talking about David Marcano, I was getting mixed up. I guess assume Julio and David are brothers. I should have looked that up, but I didn't. Are they brothers?
Yeah, they're twins, actually. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, they're twins, and they're from Katy, Texas. So their family will be in attendance. I think we're going to have about 100 people there. So there'll be two of the people that'll be there. They're amazing kids. They both have a shot to get drafted. They both graduated from the honors college. You guys probably aren't familiar with our honors college, but it's harder to get into than the Ivy League university. So they're brilliant kids, and they're great athletes, and they're just really fun to be around. And as a coach, I'm very fortunate to coach them because they're pretty much a coach's dream as a student athlete. So, but they are twins. They're probably pretty much going to hold every single offensive category by the time they leave here, number 1 or number 2. So they kind of get us going. They're kind of our big time bats that kind of get the stuff going, along with Albert Choi and Matt Concha-DeFaro.
Yeah, see, Julio's batting .333 and 10 home runs, 42 RBIs. Just what kind of hitter is he? What would you say about him?
He's our power source, but he's also just a very consistent hitter. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. He can hit a fastball. He can hit a breaking ball. He just kind of handles everything in stride. He's going to the Cape Cod League this summer, so he's considered a real good prospect. So I think that for us to do well, he usually has a pretty good game, and when he does well, we usually come out on top. So it'll be important for him to have a good weekend this weekend.
You said things kind of started coming back together for you guys when Julio got back in the lineup. What was his injury, if you don't ask him? I'm sorry, when David got back in the lineup, I think is what you said. And
yeah.
How big factor is he defensively for you there?
He's a huge factor because he just puts everyone at their natural positions. We have a really good team, I feel like, and we have some depth, but one spot that we're kind of lacking is a really good backup shortstop. So when David plays shortstop, everyone else is in their natural position. He kind of had like a sprained wrist that kept him out for 2 to 4 weeks, and kind of a hamate thing. So when we didn't have him those 2 to 4 weeks, it seemed like we were in a ton of baseball games. I think we lost 6, 7, 8 games by 2 runs or less. And every time it seemed like the ball was hit to the person that was out of position. So we just kind of had a tough stretch of luck there. But with David back at shortstop, that's kind of when we took off as a team.
I see you guys have stolen 61 of 67 bases. I'm not smart enough to know what percentage is, but I know it's really good. How big a part of your all's offense is the run game, and how familiar Arkansas catcher Casey Opitz? He's pretty good at throwing guys out. What do you think about your stolen base percentage and maybe trying to steal on Arkansas?
Well, I think our stolen base percentage is good. I think like any team in the country, if the numbers add up, if the pitcher's slow or the pitcher's fast and the catcher, you want them to be below about a 3.3 on the stopwatch. So if they're below a 3.3, then we will entertain the thought of stealing a base. Baseball's kind of a game of if they give you something, take it. So we will try to take advantage of every single opportunity that we can. So, Albert Choi, our leadoff man, I think he led the America East in stolen bases. He's really fun to watch. He's a dynamic player. In my opinion, he's top 10 fastest guys in college baseball. So he has a majority of our 61 stolen bases. I think he has 25, 6, 7, or 28. But if the opportunity is there, then we will try to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, I got a couple more, but I don't want to be a total hog here. I'll turn see if Andrew's got some more, or Jason or anybody else.
I was going to ask about the stolen bases, but you stole my question, Bob.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, Albert's 27-28. So I don't. What happened on that one? He got thrown out. I don't know.
And the umpire missed the call. So.
Steve, what do you got?
What's the key? What? I'm sorry. What was that?
Go ahead, Bob. One more, and then we're going to go to Steve.
Okay. What's the key to getting a couple guys from? I think Katie's down by Houston, if I'm not mistaken. What's the key to getting a couple guys from Texas to come up and play baseball in New Jersey?
Yeah, we kind of have a roster of kids from all over. We have kids from California, Texas, Arizona, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland. We have a very big, prestigious engineering school, and David and Julio both wanted to be engineers. So they're doing some really cool stuff. They do stuff that I could never even dream of. I think they're building drones and coding and all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of neat to see, them on the bus in the airport. They're doing stuff that I can never even imagine doing in school. So, but I would say that being a Division I baseball school, taking both of them together, and the engineering school here is what got them to come from Texas to New Jersey.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Steve.
Coach Steve Lennox with ESPN. We're going to talk with Lance more, I think, in the next couple of days. Miles is going to set that up, but thought the Arkansas guys might find this interesting. Miles talked to us yesterday. Could you kind of go through Saturday and Sunday, and maybe Jake, from his perspective too, as to, Stony Brook, if you guys got to the point Saturday, would there have been a point in the game if you got past the fifth inning where that would have been official, and if they had won, they would have moved on? But can you kind of go through, if you would, Saturday and Sunday and how things were determined that you guys were not going to play?
Yeah, I can totally do that. I would love to set the record straight. I know there's been a ton of stuff on social media, and it's everything that out there is not true. So the first narrative is that we didn't even show up Saturday to play a baseball game. That is not true. We were in the Stony Brook Seawolves football facility 45 minutes before Stony Brook. So if you would like, you can ask the University of Stony Brook for video footage. I'm sure they'll show us. And we walked right by their team, so they knew we were there. Second of all, kind of the way the game started. So we were playing Friday. Stony Brook was in the losers bracket. They beat, I want to say, Albany, and they advanced to play us. We're in the winners bracket. The game was halted in the bottom of the third inning, so there was bases loaded. We were down 1-0 and 1 out. The game was halted because of rain. So the next day, we were told by the America East to show up to Stony Brook. We showed up to Stony Brook. They told us that everything would be an hour-by-hour decision. So the game was originally supposed to go off at 10 o'clock. That got pushed back. Then I was told I had to have a 10:15 meeting with the Stony Brook coach and the games committee. The games committee consisted of Stony Brook people, one of their administrators, and the head umpire. So that meeting took place, and then, 45 minutes later, they decided that the rain was too bad and that we were crowned the champs. One thing that I feel bad about is any way that there's two teams that are both very good baseball teams. Anyway, anything that happened, one team was going to be mad and one team was going to be happy. So I guess a good way to put it would be, there's a lot of talk that we didn't show up and we're not a good team. Well, we did show up. We beat Stony Brook 5 out of 8 times this year. So, and kind of what the problem of the whole thing was, I guess, is that the facility did not have lights. So it was hard to get as many games in as possible. And when the games didn't get in and the rain came, I think it kind of Probably didn't set well with the Stony Brook people, which if we were in their situation, it wouldn't have set well with us either. But I think one thing that is thrown out there is that we didn't want to show up or we didn't play. Like, we don't get to decide that. Like, if you know college sports, if the conference says you're playing, you know. We were there, we were dressed, ready to go. It was just kind of a unfortunate situation. So, and I guess going back to your question, if the game went 5 innings, no, the game has to go 9 innings. That's in the America East handbook. So the only way it doesn't have to go 9 innings is if it's 7 innings and the home team is up by 12 runs. So for that game to count, it had to go 9 full innings. So if it went 7 innings and it was less than 12 runs, the game wouldn't have counted anyways. So I don't know if that helps or clears up anything.
Great.
Jake, you want to give your thoughts about kind of coming off the bus and finding out you're going to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, so it was like Robbie had said, it was kind of a long morning of waiting around, just trying to figure out what was going to happen. And when we were sitting there, and the executive or the representative from the commissioner's office of the America East kind of came out and just told us we had the bid, and it was just 4 years of hard work, the things that our program has gone through with losing our field and being a Northeast team in the Atlantic Sun Conference, which was extremely competitive. It was just really gratifying just to be able to celebrate with my classmates, guys that I've been with for 4 years that have turned into my best friends. And we were just extremely happy for one another and for our coaches and just NJIT as a whole. You know, we go through a lot being a popular academic school, but we want people to know that we can play sports too, and we're a legit program for everything that we do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Got time for 5 more minutes if anybody else has got any other questions.
Just wanted to ask Jake.
Number back. I'm on a Zoom call.
Sorry.
Yeah, Senor, go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to ask Jake a question. Jake, can you talk about this pitching staff? I mean, the starters, going deep, 7 innings and then handing it off to the bullpen. And you talked about, just what this journey has meant for you and, personally, but just talk about the rest of the seniors. And, also with Arkansas, just talk about facing their hitters. I mean, I think 4 players on their team, they hit the ball out of the park. I mean, I think they got 4 guys in double figures and they draw walks and, get doubles. Just, what the keys are going to be, to pitching to them on Friday. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, so for the Arkansas hitters, I think one of the main things is this is the best year I've had since I've been in college. I kind of had a down season last year before COVID hit, and I knew I had to make some adjustments to my stuff that I was going forward with. I started to really try and tune up my pitches. I really fell in love with baseball all over again. Like, I went through some stuff last year personally that kind of sidetracked me, and my teammates, especially my classmates, the guys that I live with in my house, they saved my life. If I'm going to be completely honest, I went through a lot of really tough stuff last year, and they kept me on the right track, and they make me want to be better every day. So when I'm in the game at the end, I know that it's because my teammates trust me to be out there. And to be honest with you, that's all that I need. That's why I play with so much intensity and so much fire, is because if I'm going to be the guy out there, I'm doing everything that I can do not to let my brothers down, because they did all the work to get me the ball with the lead and at the end of the game, and the last thing I want to do is let them down. So it's not really being scared to fail, but it's being excited to succeed, because I know that we deserve it as a group. And for the Arkansas hitters, I'm really excited to face them. I mean, who isn't excited to face some of the best hitters in the country? My numbers have been good this year, but I'm really excited to see how my stuff plays against against the best team in the country. I'm not afraid of anybody. It's still baseball. Everybody plays the same game when you're in between the white lines. And I know that I'm a good pitcher, but of course you got to respect those guys. They put the numbers up. They hit in the hardest conference in the country, but I know that I can get guys out. So I'm very excited to face them.
Jake, do you mind speaking real quick about the 2 wins you had in the America East tournament, how you guys came from behind late in both, and how, as Robbie said, you play every pitch every hour?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say that. That was the first thing I was going to say, is that we play all 27 outs. We know we're never out of a game. We know that in the America East, we probably have one of the strongest pens besides myself. We have a lot of other really good pitchers at the back end that keep us in games, even when the offense might get off to a slow start or we're in a really close, high-scoring game. We know that when the time comes, we're going to keep our team in the game ready to go. And our offense, we play every out. Like I said, like Miles has said, we came back in both games against Albany and against Maine. We have really clutch guys. We have guys that keep a really level head, like Julio and David. They have two of the easiest going mentalities in the game. They know they're always going to get another at-bat. They're always going to get another chance to make a play to help our team win. And I think that really helps all the younger guys be ready when the time comes to show up. Kevin Pudski specifically came into the game against Albany. We were down in the 8th inning, tied the game, took the lead. Kevin comes out, hits a leadoff single in the 9th, and then makes an amazing play in foul territory down the right field line to win the game 5-4. I just think that shows how locked in our guys are, how ready everybody is. It's not a me kind of thing. It's 30 guys that would do anything to help us win the game, and stuff like that really does help when you need a play to be made. We're not scared of the moment, and I think that's what helped us in both of those comeback wins throughout the tournament.
Thanks, Coach. Anything else you want to say? Robbie?
No, just thanks for your time. This is an exciting thing for our university and our players, and it's just it's really cool for us to go experience this, and we're going to do our best. I saw someone else had a question.
Steve, yeah, real quick, Steve.
Robbie and Miles, if it's okay, I know I'm going to talk with you guys again tomorrow, but if everyone jumped off here, Miles, could you stay on with Robbie for just like a minute or two? I just want to share one thing with you.
100%. Everybody, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you guys that are down there on Thursday. I'm pretty sure we're going to do this again Thursday, and I'll try to get Julio Marcano to talk to you as well.
I've got one thing. Hey, Coach, have you ever come across Dave Van Horn, like in your time at Gilbert? Did he ever come recruit out there? Or have you ever met Coach?
He actually recruited me when he was at the University of Nebraska. So I've known him a long time. So when he was at Nebraska, I was a pitcher. He recruited me. Nebraska was, probably in my top 5 or 6 choices of schools, but I ended up not going there. And then just kind of last night on a call, I'm familiar with him just from that aspect. And then Curtis Ledbetter, one of the Nebraska coaches, he was one of my coaches or catchers in pro ball when I was a pitcher. So it was kind of funny seeing things full circle. You've been in baseball a long time, and here we are, So I've definitely known, I don't know him that well, but he did recruit me quite a bit when I was a pitcher. So.
Is that kind of cool, though, the full circle of college baseball and how things kind of come together sometimes?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm from a really small town in Kansas. I'm from Liberal, Kansas. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but without baseball, I don't know what I would be doing in life or where I've been, but baseball's kind of taken me all over the world. I've met great friends. I've had so many cool experiences with baseball, and this is just another great experience and opportunity that the game of baseball has blessed me with.
Yeah, Coach, hey, this that's a pretty cool story. Do you remember, was Dave ticked off when you turned him down? I guess you went to Arizona State, right? If I read that correctly.
Yeah, that's correct. What was so funny is I was kind of a late developer, so I went from kind of being lightly recruited to recruited kind of by everybody and their brother. So if you would have told me 6 months before that I would have had to tell the University of Nebraska no, I would have told you you're crazy, But it just worked out where it's so long ago. I just remember that for me, calling people and telling people with great programs that I wasn't going to school there was kind of a weird deal for me, but. Now it's funny, I'm in college and you're recruiting kids and you're like, hey, just be honest with me, if you're not interested, then let me know. So, he's done great things. He's one of the best, if not the best coach in college baseball. So any person who plays for him is lucky. He's had a great track record of success. But I do remember that vividly because a couple of my friends from summer ball went to play at Nebraska, and they were trying to get me to tag along to go to Nebraska.
You said you Arizona State, Nebraska. Who else was in your top 5 or 4?
I visited LSU. I visited Texas. Wichita State was pretty important to me. I mean, I could have went to quite a few places, but my main thing, I went to Arizona State, was I just had a really good time with Coach Murphy, and I think a lot of you guys in the game probably know Mike Rooney, who does ESPN broadcasting for college baseball. He was actually the guy who recruited me at Arizona State. He was kind of the recruiting coordinator and infield coach at Arizona State at the time, so it's kind of funny, just seeing Rooney's doing his thing on ESPN now. So that's kind of different for me, because I know Coach Rooney is a very hard-nosed baseball coach, and I think a lot of you guys know him as a personality on the media. So it's kind of unique how the baseball experience, I guess, that I've had.